Right now, what we are observing in the market is that the dollar is breaking through the support level on our weekly. We are dropping hard in dollar, which means cryptocurrency markets are about to take off. We are looking in a lot of these assets and understanding the fact that yes, things are changing. You are near opportunity zone where you can make life changing amount of money. But one of the fact you need to understand is yes, dollar is dropping hard, but we also have to look for the reality of these assets, what they are doing on the individual level. We really need to look for what happened recently and what we are looking forward to. Let it be a support level, let it be a resistance, but we need to know for a fact that this is about to happen in this asset class. So you are literally focusing on all these assets, the price action, and what's happening on the fundamental side of these projects, because we now watch there's a macro structural change. Even World Economic Forum is now giving you the benefits of crypto mining. So it's kind of changing the perspective of those central bankers, changing the perspective of the bankers, the corporates, towards this narrative. Now we are also watching that BRICS is expanding and 19 new countries are trying to join that group. Now, why is that so important? Because when you actually look at the area, China, Russia, India is a key player in that. And as Cryptocurrency highlights here, this is really a super important thing to note. India is already a corridor, but as you guys know, we've talked about that way back. When I was using a Korean platform to send money into India, using the Ripple platform, they were highlighting the fact, right? This is how the real life utility work. So if that is staying relevant and increasing in terms of what it's used for sure it's going to go nuts in the valuation side of things. But what we are looking at is that the world is now in a place where it's a little bit tough. We need to understand the fact that, okay, debts are through the roof for sure. And last time we had something like this, it was 2008 recession, bank. So what are we really looking at right now in the market through these assets? We are literally observing this is XRP chart. We've dropped hard. Now there is a little bit of green candle, but understand the fact that we have not yet visited this level of support. So we need to actually reach that level and then bounce off. That would be the best choice in my thought process. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Right now, we are observing the volume is slowly increasing in XRP and a lot of other assets. But we are concerned about the move that the price action is showing us, right? If we follow the recent history, this is something we cannot ignore. But at the same time, we also look at the dollar and say that's dropping. So if you are priced in dollar, where are we really going? So last time we were dropping, say late Feb towards March, say mid-March. So mid-Feb to mid-March, as the Bitcoin price was dropping, what did we actually get in the market, right? We actually saw that the dollar itself was slowing down. So right now we go jump into the dollar. We want to actually see where we were back then. So here dollar actually went up. So while we understand the fact that, okay, last time when we were dropping, we also had two things playing out. One, the dollar itself was going up towards mid-March, right? And we also had Bitcoin itself doing a correction after we 1, 2, 3. So it was about to correct down and dollar was strengthening. So that scenario did push the price down to the trend line. Great. But right now what we're observing is the fact that dollar is breaking lower. Instead of that going up, we are now getting some kind of support in that side of things, which is actually a positive thing to note. Because if dollar is not running up like this, now we have greater option to stay relevant. Say, for example, when the price actually moved up in Bitcoin, we noticed the fact that, okay, dollar was kind of slow. It from around late Jan, dollar was slow. It was consolidating. Then Bitcoin goes up, and you see the fact that it is now correcting down, 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 down from late March. So it's been like 1.5 months, we are correcting back down. And if you go back into these crypto assets, you understand the fact that, okay, we go back that 1.5 months. What have we seen? Market going up because the dollar was going down. So this is a huge indicator, in my opinion, to keep an eye on, because it also gives us two different factors. One, you had this level which was acting as a support resistance. You broke that. That is major thing. Then you have a head and shoulder pattern, which is right now breaking through. If we drop this, it's massive. Now, this is a daily chart. If you actually jump onto a weekly, you get a clear picture. Now, this actually shows you, if you're dropping, you are looking for a major support level to hold that leg. Why? Because whenever you drop in that ABC correction, you drop hard. The leg of that correction, the pain is going to be massive, unless it's something little bit different from that, which shows you a corrective action like this. Now, even in that case, what we are looking for is the dollar to come back to a trend line support like this. So it is going to be painful for those who are in dollar, but it is going to be great for those who are in assets. And when we look at crypto market, we understand, yes, we are not going hyper, we are not going FOMO into the market. We are looking for the reality. And we understand the fact that, okay, we have actually done something decent in the market. We have actually managed to move up in the market, do all these run up, correct back down, go back up. It does look like it is trending. There is a clear positive trend. But we haven't yet revisited the support level. So that would be a concern, or should be a concern for us. Because if you actually say like, okay, we understand the fact that on the short-term scenario, when dollar is dropping, Ether against dollar should gain some strength. And I'm like, okay, that really makes sense. It is true that we should actually get strength. So either the dollar depreciation kind of help us throughout this scenario, saying, okay, we actually have completed this leg of correction. Say you actually do this, great. Now what we want to observe is that the market actually makes a double bottom and move higher. So on the short-term horizon, we actually see there is a possibility. The price action here is showing you the fact that, okay, you're making a pattern at a time when the RSI suggests, okay, I'm gaining some strength. Instead of making a new low here, I'm putting in a new high, which kind of shows you like, okay, that means the price action has some room to run higher. How high that can go, we'll have to sit and see. But I personally think it's going to be tested here. And if that resistance pushes us back lower, now don't just look for this as a support. More or less, look for this range taking off, or the price beating that level and jumping towards the next level of support. So for Ether, that's about 1,750. Close to that is going to be the next level of support. After that, you are literally looking all the way down towards 170. So 1,700 is going to be a key range of support. And right now, we are observing that the market is kind of about to run a little bit up. Now, there are some assets like XRP, which is a little bit different from a lot of these assets which we have discussed. Because in the macro, we understand the fact that it is at the trend line support and it is staying true to the bulls. It's not actually jumping out, jumping in. It is bullish. It is not actually moving completely out of that trend line. It is respecting that trend line as we go higher. Remember, the market can literally remain irrational longer than we can be liquid. That's one of the hardest part and truths in the market. So we as investors have some duty. What? If we want to succeed, we want to stay liquid. That's up to you how you can stay liquid. You'll have to find different ways. But understand the fact that vast majority of people don't make money in the market. And the one person who actually makes money, they stay liquid. So they actually understand, okay, they are about to make money, but they need patience and they need to be in the right assets. Now, as we go through this, we also understand that corrective leg during that correction may look like it's painful. And we do understand, like, okay, reaching a support level is really important and healthy for anyone who is entering into the market or anyone who is observing the market right now. Say, right now you go into the market, you want to see like some of these assets are trying to move higher, and you want to look at them and say like, okay, I want to see what the hell is happening in that asset. Say Chili's, right now it's like $23 million in the trading volume. So you actually want to go look at that asset on the macro chart. And when you're going on the macro, you understand something like, okay, through all these tough times, right? This is the drop of Luna Terra. Now, after FTX, you put in a higher low. So that's like, okay, those who are holding on to this asset is not willing to sell this. Those who are weak, they already dropped out with that Luna Terra. So you now have a trend in the market which actually shows you that this asset is holding on to this channel after a long leg to the upside. So after being in such a rally, it would be really painful if you got here in the market. Now think about those guys who entered the market back in June, July 2019. They had to stay in the market for a long period of time before it actually started popping. Remember, this is an investment, an asset. So it works like how you actually plant a tree. You don't literally go in there every day, pluck that out to see whether the roots are growing, right? That's something you need to think about when you're putting investments. You put it there. Now what you have to do, feed it, water, minerals, whatever you want to give that. Just don't take it out every day and replant it somewhere else because you think like, okay, this soil is not good. I'm going to take it out from this soil and I'm going to put it in a different one. It's just going to delay you and kill that plant. So for you, that's your asset, your investments. Don't jump around. Stay in the asset if you believe the fundamentals are still the same because these are about to take off. Now, jumping back into XRP, first I would like to look XRP at XRP BTC pair because this actually gives on the macro a great picture for us to understand this is highly undervalued asset. This is highly undervalued asset in my opinion because you're at the lowest point and it's been there for some time. Last time you spent this long or something like that, you popped off when the price actually moved up. Now, it was not XRP moving up alone. It was the market going up and XRP taking part in that market, right? And last time the wave one here was not that big. And this time, I believe it's going to be really big and massive. And one of the reasons for that is that when you look at XRP on the Ether pair and the USD pair, you understand, okay, we are trending to the downside here on the Ether pair. And the possibilities that this breaks to the upside is now way, way higher, right? You're looking for the trend line here and you get it horizontal. The support is now strong, great. But at the same time, you observe the fact that buying power is increasing. People are getting more and more interested to buy this particular asset. That's actually a strong thing to observe in the market. So that's XRP against Ether. So you are about to gain strength in terms of Ether. Either Ether has to drop massively or XRP has to go up parabolic. What is it going to be? I believe it's XRP going parabolic in terms of the dollar value. So here we are observing the fact that the market actually shows a lot of different things. One of which is the weekly moving average. We talked about that extensively and even in the last video we highlighted what's happening. So now I would like to actually go on to a short-term chart, say where you are looking at a 12-hour chart. You say, okay, that's correcting to the downside. And what you're observing is the fact that the moving averages are crossing to the downside. Great. So I'm like, okay, usually when the moving average cross, what happens? Now you can actually say zoom out, look at the chart and say like every time when you're observing that the price is crossing to the downside for the moving averages, which means say the 21-day moving average is crossing The 50 to the downside, price goes back up, test the moving average zone, come back down. Follow the direction of the short-term average. Again, you cross to the upside, what happens? The price come back down and tries to bounce back off, but your trend line is pushing you down. Same. Now you're crossing to the downside and you're coming back down, but your trend line is to the upside, but you haven't yet reached that trend line support. That's a different story. So as you zoom in and in and in, you really want to look at a point where you understand, okay, we are now trying to go back. And that may actually take you all the way into an hourly chart saying, okay, we broke higher. We're coming back down to retest this. We want to go back up. But on the short-term narrative, what we can observe as a fact is that, okay, yeah, we have actually dropped in. So we'll actually use an ABCD pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got those corrective legs done. Now, that's an hourly chart. Agreed. But when you actually shift your view into a higher time frame structure, this is what you actually see, right? And usually the C leg in XRP, the correction always used to be painful. Agreed. 100% agreed. If you're looking at this on the macro, you'll actually observe the fact that it dropped in so hard. Now I'm talking about the macro, so you may actually have to go onto a 3-day chart to see how that really played out. So that was painful. So right now when you're looking at a short-term structure and saying, okay, this is coming down, I want to actually see this making a clear bottom and bouncing off, I would be happy to see this coming down to this level and bounce off. But if it actually does that bounce from here and invalidates this trend, so when I say invalidate this trend, that means you need to take this level of support resistance off the picture. Clearly, if you break through this, now that's done. Now that's a support again, and you are going back up. Remember our macro structure for XRP? You are going through the roof. You are actually literally observing macro pattern suggesting you this asset is about to go higher. On the lower time frame structure, yes, there is a lot of volatility, but when you're on the higher time frame structure, you still rely on the fact that this is where you are right now. You broke higher, you're retesting, and if you retest that level, it would be 0.41, 0.42, even say 0.4, and a bounce off from this level is going to be providing astonishing gains in the market. And for me personally, I believe this asset is one of the best in terms of liquidity, because it's not just about watching numbers grow, but also having the ability to take the money out from all these different exchanges. Because if you don't have this listed in an exchange, it's going to be really hard. And I understand the concern with those who hold this asset in US. They'll have to convert it into Ether, whatever they have to do, and then take it out. It's going to be painful. And when I say take it out, consider these gold-based assets and the volume of these at that time when you're taking the money out. Because the gold is showing you it's about to go higher, the market is shifting. Even when you actually jump on to the stock market side of things, you're observing this, right? We discussed about this extensively last couple of times. So just look at that. If you're breaking through this level of resistance, there's going to be a lot of people who are getting invalidated in their market theory of recession. Now, in reality, economically speaking, you are going to get an recession. But in the stock market, things are different. It does not really reflect what the economy is looking like. It should, I agree, but it is not. So if you have opportunity, use that. So while you are in the pursuit to understand what the market is doing, how things are evolving, all of this is positive. Yes, agreed. And you have a market where you have a ton of assets doing a lot of different things and showing you different possibilities. So if you are interested in understanding how this can impact your portfolio and how you can take benefit of the upcoming run higher, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. So guys, if you received value, please do hit that like and subscribe button. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.